What's up? I'm going to go over how you can make $100,000 per month more with high ticket, as in $5,000 to $25,000 jobs, individual clients, individual jobs that pay you $5,000 to $25,000 for your B2B agency on Upwork. Right? The overall workflow of what we're going to go over today covers some Upwork specific stuff, some Upwork bugs, how do you get around that, and then I will also talk through how I get around this with some off-Upwork code to hyper refine the ICP so you can get instant alerts and all that kind of fun stuff. So this is an overview of what we're going to be going over today. If you have thought, like I used to think, that Upwork is only for like $50 logos and kind of cheap, low ticket stuff, that is absolutely not the case. So there are 3 million jobs posted on Upwork every single day. That's of March 2026. And I did a sample scrape for a client. I eliminated everything that was not $5,000 or less. So this is only $5,000 plus jobs. And in a single day, and this is over the 4th of July period, so US holiday, I found $1.4 million worth of jobs just in the 5K plus range. And that is for one client, one niche. And I'm going to teach you in this video how you can do the same. There's a bunch of Upwork bugs and all this kind of stuff that is preventing you from finding this stuff. So here's a challenge. The challenge I'm going to teach you how to overcome. So number one, eliminating the low ticket junk, finding the jobs that nobody else can. There are some bugs in Upwork Search, and I will teach you how to get around them. There's also limitations of Upwork Search, things that it's just not designed to be able to tell you that if you are a B2B agency, you need to know, right? So things, for example, like we are looking for an experienced web dev agency versus we are an experienced web dev agency looking for a virtual assistant to do random little junk. Very, very important. We will talk about job alerts customized to your ICP, so how you can get notified when your ideal client posts a high-ticket job on Upwork so that you are one of the first to bid, so that your job actually gets, or your proposal gets noticed and you have a much higher likelihood of winning. And some other jobs, like how you find these things where maybe it only takes you half an hour to an hour, but you still can get hundreds or even thousands of dollars for doing so. And then, of course, not of course, but we'll also talk about as a bonus, right, how you can do things like if you have a virtual assistant applying for jobs for you, how you can actually track automatically their proposal speed over time, and then how you can track the most profitable skills and categories and countries and times of day and all this kind of stuff for your ICP for the jobs you want to do for your business. So that could be, I mean, that's everything from like IT, you do Android app development, or you do Facebook ads for e-com and Shopify stores, or you do Webflow, or you do whatever, right? We will talk about all that kind of stuff. So lots to cover in this video. This is going to be very, very in-depth. I'm going to start with what prevents agencies from finding the highest volume of high-ticket jobs. So we're going to go over some problems, but I first want to back up. There is this ROI calculator I will drop in the link below. But for a sample client, I want to show you the math behind here to show you I'm not crazy. So there's 3 million jobs posted on Upwork per day. I have found anywhere between 20 and 80 very high-ticket jobs. So I just did this today for an agency. They do like Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, etc. I found about 80 jobs for them that were like looking for a Facebook ads rock star, looking for like somebody to do a deep dive and like run our Google ads for months and months and months. So I found about 80 jobs posted, and this is per day on Upwork. So let's assume this guy's not going to be able to send 80 proposals per day, but like let's just assume as the best case, I'll show you the math here. So 80 proposals per day. There are, let's assume there's, between 8 to 16 connects required per job. Let's assume it's on the upper end of that. Each connect costs 15.75 cents. For him, his customer LTV was between 5K and 10K roughly, and that's what he had experienced already from Upwork. So that means the available revenue per 24-hour period is $600,000 per day. Okay, crazy. 18 million per month. Now, he told me about 1 in every 5 to 10 proposals gets him an interview. So I just assumed it was 1 in 7 to do kind of an easy split of the difference. He told me his close rate was 20%. Your close rate may be better, right? Your close rate may be 30% or 40% if you're, maybe 50% if you're really, really good at sales. But let's assume that you have a close rate of 20%. This is the math I showed him. Okay, now that means your cost per call, or his cost per call, was $17.64. I guarantee you, it doesn't matter what you're doing, right? You could be the best cold email in the world. You could have the best, you could be amazing at ads. You could have like the best appointment setter in the world. You're not getting $17 per call. I guarantee you that. No one is. Because even he was, he had 20 domains. He was blasting out cold emails, right? You had 20 domains. That means he's spending $160 per month on cold email. Okay? All right. So let's continue the math here. So cost to acquire a customer, $88. That means per month he could spend, if he was doing 80 proposals a day, he'd spend $6,000 per month on connects, but make $500,000. He's not going to do that. He doesn't have an agency that big. He can't fulfill on that at all. But let's just pretend he does 10 per day. Right? Maybe even 5 per day. Let's just crank down his volume a ton. If he does 5 per day, he's spending $378 on connects to make $32,000. That's an ROI percentage of 85,000% or 8,500%. No, 8,500. Crazy, right? That's huge. So I will drop the link for this ROI calculator below. You can check this out and punch in some numbers yourself to see if Upwork is good for you. But his volume, I guarantee you, like you're not going to be able to handle the volume on Upwork. It is absurd. The question is, can you peer about it right away so that you are first to apply? And how do you prevent all the problems that go along with it? So let's talk about the problems. Let's talk about all the reasons why when you type in something on an Upwork search, you see mostly crap. Okay? I'm going to show you an example. This was a search that was sent to me by a client, and he was like, hey, like I'm trying to find all this stuff on Upwork, and I'm like, tell me what you're searching for. He's like, Upwork doesn't work. There's all this crap. It takes forever. I can't scale it because, I have to train a VA to go and like figure out what this stuff is. So tell me what you're searching for, right? So yeah, most of this is crap. I fixed it. I'm going to show you the result in a second, but let's go over why Upwork Search is broken. So these are lessons from people that have earned anywhere from $200K to $15 million on Upwork. Okay. The biggest thing, right? You cannot find the obvious opportunities because there's 3 million of them out there, right? So you're basically only finding the kind of the most top of mind ones, and they're really competitive. And that's because Upwork Search is broken for a number of reasons. One example is the hourly rate filtering actually eliminates the best jobs. I'm going to demonstrate that for you in a second. The second one is the awareness level of clients. So some people say, we have a skincare brand and we want to grow our store with email marketing. Another person might say we have, Klaviyo, we need a Klaviyo expert to build out our flows. Now, the latter expert is way, way, way more aware than the first one, but the first one's still looking for your help. They just maybe are not using the exact terms that you're searching for. So that is the second level. You also have misspellings. So, Klaviyo, like this, Klaviyo, all this kind of stuff. Active campaign with a space, active campaign without a space, HubSpot, HubSpace Spot, whatever. And you also have different terminology people use. I will demonstrate how you can capture the most volume in a second. And you also have miscategorizations. So, for example, you have like a marketing job that's like looking for a Facebook ads expert to architect your strategy, and they'll put it under like architecture. So there's all these sorts of things where people miscategorize, people keyword stuff or skill stuff, and it causes the job to be suggested in the wrong category, effectively. Okay? It also takes way, way, way too long to figure out what the best jobs are because of this junk volume. So it means it is basically impossible defined for a number of reasons. So you have duplicate skills. So you have like 150 different skills that are all like email marketing skills. You have people, clients like skills, I call them skill stuffing. So they will list a job for like Klaviyo, but then put ActiveCampaign as a skill, even though ActiveCampaign is not at all required. So they'll just take like Upwork's suggestions and like blast whatever skills because they think it's giving their job more chances to be found. But then what happens is people use negative search terms and eliminate the job in the first place. Okay. The next thing is there's some like several broken search options that I will show you how to get around. For example, there's some false positives in the keyword search that are just completely broken. And then Upwork simply cannot detect nuance. So it cannot detect the difference between the phrase, we are a cold email agency, as in they're your competition, or we are looking for an experienced cold email agency. The difference between those two things is completely black and white. They are completely different, but there's no keyword you can type in it to Upwork that will tell you which one is the case, okay? So it cannot tell you whether it's a low-paid job for your competition or whether they're looking exactly for you. So you get all this junk. And they also don't have very good analytics. So Upwork cannot tell you what the most profitable and least competitive countries are, times of day, days a week, skills, categories, etc. I can. I'm going to show you how to do this in a second. And I will also show you with this some interesting stuff around keyword optimization for your profile. As in, once you know the most profitable skills, the skills that are most common with your clients, you can just reflect that in your profile. So this is exactly what people do when they do keyword research for a website. They figure out what Google Trends is saying with the most profitable or the most common keywords, and then make the site do that, and then that's how they rank on Google and get lots of money from Google. So how would you do this? All right, how do you find the most high-ticket jobs that are also the least competitive? Okay? What you could do, what a lot of people do, is you could just blindly guess some stuff. So you blindly narrow the search by the minimum hourly budget, right? So just set the hourly rate as like $50 and above or $20 and above or whatever. You could niche it down by one or more skills, right? Klaviyo, Webflow, PHP, whatever. You could assume that the US, Canada, Australia, the UK always have the highest paying jobs that are the easiest to get. You could do keyword searches like Klaviyo Expert. You could scan through categories. There's also an undocumented feature called occupations, which we will talk about. But you probably should not do that. There's a number of very specific problems. I'm going to go over each one at a time. So, number one, obvious Upwork problem. Not obvious. If you specify any hourly rate filter whatsoever, it could be $1 and above, $5 and above, it will filter out any job where they just do not specify an hourly rate, even the expert stuff. So for those of you that are in marketing, you know what the term fractional CMO means. Basically, this person is a C-suite level employee who you pay for part-time. Okay, it's a very, very high paid role. You would charge anywhere between, let's say, 5 to 6K and above for this, right? So I did a sample search. I'm going to show you this search in a second here. Okay, I did an example search. I found this job, right? Hardware technology company looking for a fractional CMO. Okay, imagine if like Apple came in and was like, we want a fractional CMO. That's this kind of job. It is a very high-paying job. They've listed it here as an expert role. Okay, they haven't put an hourly range though. So, and I noticed like I found this job because I did not search for the hourly range. But the second I repeat the exact same job, and I put an hourly range of $10 and above, I don't see it. Upwork Search will not show you the highest paid jobs, ongoing jobs that you can make hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for if you put an hourly range filter. Don't put an hourly range filter. You will mess it up. So, okay. Later, I will show you how you actually eliminate the jobs where it says $5 an hour. Okay? It's not through Upwork. If you do it through Upwork, you will eliminate your most lucrative opportunities, don't do it. Okay. So I will show you later how to do this. I will show you later how to do tight timelines and, things like where there's like a large scope of work relative to the budget. Okay. I will do that later, but we need to move on. So problem 2, there are duplicate skills in Upwork. So for example, okay, I'm a computer nerd, right? PHP. Anybody who does programming knows what PHP is. It's a computer language. So, answer me this. These are all Upwork skills. PHP, custom PHP, and PHP script. They're all listed as separate skills. That means from a client perspective, when they are entering a job to do PHP stuff, some of them will choose PHP, some of them will choose custom PHP, some of them will choose PHP script. If you search for all of these skills at once, it only finds jobs that combine all 3. So I did this. If you do this with custom PHP, PHP, and PHP script, you find 61 jobs. Or if you search for one at a time, as in if you search for PHP alone, you get almost 7,000. So there's more than 100 times as many jobs. More than 100. Because Upwork Search is doing this. This is the problem with skill search. So the thing is, but if you recognize the fact that it could be a skill, there's one of 3 skills. It could be one of those 3 skills. Or it could be not a skill, but in a title or the description. What you do there is you say, okay, well, you just search for PHP as a keyword and you get 9,000 jobs. So we went from 61 jobs to 9,000. Now you can start to see these bugs in Upwork Search and how you can get hyper-targeted and find volume. Okay, this is how you get a lot of volume. And you can then go filter with other things to find the highest budget within that. Right? You also, because you're getting way more opportunity than most people, this is total jobs, right? You all of a sudden have access to the lowest competition jobs. Your odds of getting the job are way higher if you follow this stuff. Okay, I've also done an analysis on the number of skills listed on a particular job. Now, it turns out, you can see this graph below, is that jobs on average are more competitive as more skills are listed. That means what you want to do is not just go and do a search for skills, because you're going to find the most competitive jobs. So, whatever. If you want to stay poor, you can do that. But let's move on. Problem 3. So I mentioned this before. Clients will skill stuff or keyword stuff job descriptions. So, for instance, here's a job, and it's a Klaviyo job. This is the search term, right? So Upwork job title, Klaviyo automation, whatever. There's no reason why a Klaviyo automation job would require the skill of MailChimp. They're not the same tool. Anybody who knows either of them knows, like, they're just not the same tool. Okay, but clients do this because Upwork suggests to clients to just start adding skills that they think are related. Now, they do a really bad job of it. Now, what that means, though, okay, and then we also have, like, keyword stuffing, right? So they'll say, like, we're a Google Ads agency and we're looking for a video editor. So if you were doing a search for Google Ads, you would find this video editor job that, again, would be completely junk. So when you do a search for, let's say, Facebook ads or something, right? You get everything in the title, everything in the description, everything in the skills, and then sometimes Upwork makes stuff up depending on how you phrase the search. And I will show you how to phrase the search properly so you don't get that stuff. But, okay, the problem is, okay, so for example, if I did a search for Facebook ads, this job here below, they're looking for a general social media manager that has 10 or 20 different skills. If you are a high-ticket agency, this is completely irrelevant. This job is not for you because they're not going to pay you shit at all. Okay. So you need to be as a result, right, as a conclusion of this, number one, you need to be careful about how you phrase a search because you're going to find all this junk. But then also you need to be careful about what you eliminate, because if you say, I want to do Klaviyo and then eliminate MailChimp, you're going to eliminate a lot of the Klaviyo jobs as well. Okay, so be very, very careful with negative keywords. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunity, and a lot of those opportunities are very, very lucrative. Okay, so it's not huge, right? Klaviyo and not MailChimp. That should be every single Klaviyo job. All right, there's only 4 of them, but these 4 are the ones that are the least competitive. All right. Very, very briefly here, these are the number of jobs in the United States by high ticket, and United States is the most popular one. India is number 2, UK is 3, Canada, Australia, but everybody else, like the long tail, is huge. So I would look at like Latvia and Estonia and Italy and Cyprus. I have a buddy who lives in Cyprus, and he has a 6-figure per month agency. He pays a lot of money to his people. So you don't want to eliminate some country just because it's not the United States or Australia. Okay, check out the long tail here, right? US is here, but all these, like Norway, you know how expensive it is in Norway? Norway is a very expensive country. So, and there are some non-US countries that are less competitive. I will zoom in here so you can see. So you have like New Zealand is actually crazy competitive for some reason. Luxembourg, Czech Republic, Cyprus is up here, but down here is like Hong Kong. Right? Hong Kong probably pays a lot of money for people too. All right, cool. Problem 5, clients use alternate terms, right? So Klaviyo, sometimes they miss the I, sometimes they miss the Y. So if you don't account for these alternate or misspellings, you will definitely miss jobs, okay? People also have varying levels of market awareness. So some people will use terms like pay-per-click advertising, paid search, Google Ads, Google Advertising, Performance Max campaign, Google Media Buyer, Google Media Buying. If you account for only one of these keywords, like Google Ads, you're not going to find most jobs. I will demonstrate this for you on this call or on this video. So not to worry, but this is one reason why people everybody always targets like the most obvious one, like Google Ads Expert, and you miss out on all these other stuff. Okay, number 6, Upwork Search just makes stuff up. So there's some really funny bugs in Upwork Search. This one is amusing to me, right? If you search for ad copy, you find stuff for like ghostwriting here. Why? Not a clue, because the word ad and the word copy are not anywhere in this job description. Makes no sense to me. It is what it is. All right. Another example is the term PPC. For some reason, if you include it alone, it's okay. But if you include it with advertising, it includes a landing page. Why? Not a clue. But you have to test each iteration of your search to make sure that that term, as you phrased it, is not one of these like junk, bogus terms in Upwork Search. Okay. Next thing. Upwork's website sometimes shows old job results. So, what I mean is like the term actually does not match. So, for example, let me like show you a thing here. So, okay. So we're on Upwork. Sometimes this top bar here, the query in the top bar, doesn't match what's here. So if I change this to like, I don't know, depending on your browser and time of day and whatever else. All right, so Facebook, advertising, whatever. Okay. Sometimes it changes right away. And this number of jobs goes, Insta, whatever. Okay. Sometimes this changes right away. All right. And it's fast. But sometimes you'll like type something in here and this top URL bar doesn't change right away. And so if you had like a VA going through this manually and like that's how you were doing your searches, or you were doing it yourself and switching back and forth, sometimes this would be showing old results and it would just mess everything up. Okay. Not good. All right. So number 8 is lack of awareness, right? Lack of nuance. So as I mentioned before, Upwork cannot tell the difference between the phrase, we are a cold email agency, and we are looking for an experienced cold email agency. There is nothing you can type in an Upwork search that will distinguish between these two phrases. Okay, you cannot achieve this nuance with Upwork at all. Okay, you can also not do things like finding just job descriptions that are way too short, where it's one sentence, like I need a website, period. Okay, or it's way too long, all right, where it's like some corporate mumbo jumbo, and they want you to go on a Zoom meeting like every week, and they want you to be online, be on Slack from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time, and all this kind of stuff, right? So it cannot distinguish these kind of things. And it also can't figure out companies looking for clients or people looking for affiliates like this one, right? Does their agency need more clients? Upwork Search cannot filter this junk out. So you end up with just a junk-filled search if you stick to Upwork Search alone. This is just a technical limitation of the site. So this all means it just takes way too long for your time or your VA's time to filter through it. It is impossible to delegate. Right? If you have all this junk, you have to teach somebody else about nuance, and you have to teach them about your ICP, and you have to say, hey, like you're gonna type this in, but it'll show you junk, and you have to get around it like this. That's gonna make it really either impossible to delegate or very expensive, because you're gonna be paying $1,500 to $1,000 or $2,000 for a VA who is talented enough and smart enough to be able to actually pay attention to these things. So it's just very costly to do this, and it makes it very hard to delegate and very hard to scale, because you're going to miss opportunities. And all this means it's actually less likely, even for the jobs you do find, it's far less likely you're going to get those jobs, because it's taking you hours and hours and hours for you or a VA to siphon through it all. And in that time, somebody else was first, somebody else got their proposal noticed, and someone else got that job. So if you have assumed this whole time, right, that Upwork doesn't work and there's so much low-ticket junk and whatever, it's because of all these reasons I just mentioned. It's because of just weird stuff with Upwork. It's because of, frankly, the volume with Upwork, volume of clients, volume of other people competing with you. And there's some bugs that if you're not careful to get around them, you just miss out on the opportunity in the first place. All right? So, how do you build a profitable and functional Upwork search that's better than the most expensive and best VAs, that's cheaper than the cheapest, and it's also faster than any human being on the planet? Let's roll. So, benefits of this. You'll be able to outsource applications if you want. So, you could hire like a $500 a month VA and say, hey, like they know that every single job that's in the narrowed down search that I'm going to show you how to build will only be targeted, right? So you can maximize volume. So you can get a larger chunk. This is where this $30,000 to $50,000, like let's say you do 10 applications a day, right? That's where this $65,000 extra per month comes from. Okay. So you can see analytics on most profitable skills and proposal speed, right? Most profitable service offerings. And then ultimately win more projects with fewer proposals, less time, get more incoming invites faster, because the more experience you have on Upwork, the faster you get incoming leads and do even less work. And then ultimately spend less time on fulfillment to earn more money. So, high level best practices. No. Don't type a phrase like this. Type it like this. Just believe me, I'll show you in a second. There's some advanced search terms. They all have to be capitalized. Not like this, like this. All right, cool. If you mess this up, by the way, you get some really unexpected results. Okay? You have to put every logical group in brackets. So this kind of thing, where it's like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or Google and ads, that is logically different than the bottom part. So Facebook, so basically like the platform, any platform and the ads, it's this one, not this one. All right, I'm going to show you some examples in a second. So you can do title searches, but these boolean search operators do not go within the brackets. They go outside the brackets like this. Okay, cool. Again, otherwise it either just doesn't work at all, or it shows you very unexpected results. Upwork Search sometimes tries to guess what they think are similar terms. but they just get it super, super, super wrong. So you have to verify every single term that you type in to make sure that you're not getting a bunch of junk volume with one of the terms that you add. For example, I showed you before, PPC and not advertising somehow returns a landing page. So what I do is I search when a client hires me to find their ICP on Upwork. I go through and verify each one. And you also, as I mentioned, as a best practice, have to verify. If you're doing these searches manually, not automatically as I'm about to show you, if you're doing them manually and you're typing them in, or you have like a bunch of links you're copying and pasting, you have to make sure that the link up here in the search bar matches down here. So the toolbox we're going to be using to put together a good search to find as much as possible is title search, keyword lists, boolean search operators, categories, occupations, which is an undocumented feature, and also negative keywords based on these. So let's begin. Our general methodology is going to be first a title search. So let me show you the title search here. I think this is this one. Sample for demo. Where's the thing? Okay. So a client of mine does ads. He does ads across all platforms. So I got a bunch of keywords, right? So advertising, ads, media buyer, whatever, PPC, paid search, pay-per-click. Let me show you one example. So let's say I go to Upwork, and what I'm going to try to do first is find almost like the epicenter of the thing. So if you have a keyword in the description, it could be like, hey, we're a Facebook ads company, and after we generate leads with the ads, we want someone to go and call them to follow up. So the fact that it's a Facebook ad or a Google ad is not the most important thing, the most important part of the role. So what I do is I do a bunch of these title searches to figure out what terms clients are using to describe the role. So I see this term specialist and media buyer, right? Designer, this client doesn't do copy. Running ads, right? Okay, so maybe that's manager. Facebook has manager. Manager, LinkedIn as specialist, so the word manager, specialist, right? We have manager, media buyer, whatever. So you're going to do a title search first. Now, that title search is going to give you a bunch of basically adjectives, right? Adjectives, adverbs, whatever. Descriptive words on the thing. So we are over here. So you're going to I ran all these. The next thing is what I call a keyword matrix. So we can do advertising, ads, media buyer, whatever. All of these terms that I just saw here, kind of copy that. And now all of a sudden I have advertising expert, advertising specialist, advertising consultant, advertising pro, advertising strategy, rockstar manager, whatever. All right, let me show you the difference between these two strategies. So let's say I did ads expert. I was looking for ads expert. We know to have everything in quotes if it's more than 2 words. So, okay, ads expert, we found 698 jobs. Not bad, right? Pretty good. We have, if we go scroll down 17 hours ago, my first page has got 50 in it, and looks like all but the last, maybe the bottom half or so. Okay, so there's probably like 20 to 30 things in the last 24 hours just for that term ads expert. But we know it could be advertising rockstar, PPC superhero, whatever, pay per click specialist, these kind of things. So how do you get all these things? What you should not do is say ads expert, okay? Because then you get visual designer, you get industry expert creation, you get like Spotify campaign for Latin music single. Like this is not an advertising job. So you need to conclude everything in quotations. So once we get all this together, then we go to categories. Now, what I've done is pasted a big list of these keywords in the category. this or this or this or this or this. Okay, what I go through is I go through each category, and what you'll find is that some categories have kind of junk stuff in them. You'll find that there's like some certain things. So for example, in the category of admin support, there was lots of kind of Upwork or Amazon drop shipping stuff. Okay, and these are in admin jobs. So what I realized is that, well, there's a lot of people who advertise looking for a drop shipping or an Amazon ads expert, but really what they're looking for, first off, drop shipping, they're making $0, right? They're selling on Amazon, they have margins of like a cent per thing. And so what they're looking for is someone like that's like kind of as cheap as possible versus a company who's like a coaching company or like, you know, quote unquote real business. Maybe they're doing like they have their own Shopify store, their own brand on Shopify. And so what I did is I realized here I need to eliminate drop shipping and Amazon. Okay, so going through, these are all the categories in Upwork, right? You could go through these manually. So you could go through and select this category, then like just keep going through and see if you find a category where like there's mostly junk. I have done that here. If you do not do this, by the way, if you do not do this, you'll end up with junk. It'd be harder to delegate, and you just get junk. And you'll see here, like for example, it's worthwhile. It's like not a big deal to eliminate this category of like admin support for ads because we're only getting rid of 54 jobs. 1,729 are in the sales and marketing thing, which is a lot better, right? Sometimes you have like translation. I thought, well, I don't want to like translation for ads. I wouldn't want that. And then sometimes this is like, hey, our like tracking for Google Analytics is broken for our ads. Like someone needs to go and fix it. So that's why I eliminated this. And there was some that was like, I need a website built that like runs with Google ad traffic or something like that. So that's why I selected only certain categories: writing, which is copywriting for ads, this one, and this one, which is like ad creative. So that's that. Categories are really cool. Let me show you the Amazon junk here. You'll see it. Okay. So PPC expert, Amazon USA Marketplace. Right? This is basically everybody advertising in the admin support has $0. Okay, so drop shipping VA. Anybody who's looking for like a VA, virtual assistant, whatever. Basically, everybody in his category is just personnel. You know, we have like help to create company SOPs. It just sounds like kind of junk stuff, so it wasn't really useful. So the next step, again, we're gonna, is the categories, right? So now we've got the categories. What I did from the categories, the thing that's useful for the categories is noticing the common trends of junk volume. So the categories, everything is more similar in the categories. So it's very difficult to go through 17 or 1,800 jobs and notice what the common trends are in the junk volume. Everything looks like great when you're looking at 1,700 plus jobs, but when you're looking at 54, you start to notice that everything in here that's kind of junk is all Amazon or dropshipping related, which then if you're smart at marketing, well, people that do dropshipping make zero, like their margins are razor thin. They must have $0. And so we can eliminate a lot of the junk simply by eliminating, number one, the category, but also the words Amazon and dropshipping. So now the reason that's so important is then we go through and we get all these words together, right? I've looked at Facebook here, but you get the idea. So what we do is like, okay, so you go through, get all these words. Did I get here? I think I switched tabs. Okay, so I had another one here. So let's go here. Okay, so categories. Occupations sometimes are relevant. Occupations are an undocumented. It's like a subcategory, right? So sometimes you can get even more specific with occupations. I haven't done that. Okay, there's a 500 character word limit or a character limitation on any kind of Upwork search. So what you end up doing is you get them all together. So advertising expert, ads expert or advertising expert, media buying expert or ads expert or advertising expert, and so on and so forth. So where was our old thing? It was this one. Okay, so we did a search for ads expert, right? We'll put that in quotes because I'll show you the difference. Ads expert. Okay, so let's eliminate that. Okay, 698, as we saw before. Looks really impressive, right? 698. Whoa, that's so many. Okay, first off, we have the Amazon stuff in there, but let me show you this. So instead of 698, oh, now we tripled it. Okay, just from including extra terms, and that's only one search. We also have, so like my browser's a little slow today. Okay, so we also have all these other terms to go for. Okay, so we have this one. Oh. Okay. So we have 1623 plus 299. Now we have like 4 or 5 times as many jobs, right? So this is like insane. You guys can see this. Okay, and now we have this one too. So see how like I have the number of characters here, so I don't go over. Okay, so, oh, am I a little over here? Okay, and another almost 3,000 over here. Okay, we don't need to run this one because you got the idea. Okay, so now we have our character searches. Each one of these character searches is going to be its own search term, and we're of course going to take the categories and say, okay, look at what our categories were. So we're going to do only writing, sales and marketing, and then these 3. And accounting. So writing, sales, all right, you get the idea. Okay, so now we're getting a pretty good estimation. We also have like pretty decent volume here, right? So if we look at, I mean, the total volume is like somewhere like 4,000 or so. And our initial one was 638, right? So we're like orders of magnitude higher. That is how you design an Upwork search. So again, just to review, you start with a title search. Oh, where'd it go? Okay, you do title search to try to find the adjectives that are associated with the thing. So Klaviyo specialist, Klaviyo rockstar, PHP programmer, PHP designer, these kind of things. Then you do the keyword matrix. So you have your terms on the one side, and on the other side, you get every single permutation. All right, so this is just like that plus that. Okay. You then get a sample and figure out what categories are just completely junk, and you can eliminate those categories. You'll be shocked. There's sometimes where it's like a software engineering one, and they'll put it in like sales and marketing because it's like a sales and marketing related role, right? There's all sorts of weird ones. Occupations are kind of like subcategories, right? And then split it into 500 character groups. Each of these groups becomes one search. So you're gonna have like 4 searches you're gonna search through to find the most volume here. So that is that. Now let's review like where we are on this entire journey that we're on. So the first thing, oh geez. Okay, so the first step is we're designing our Upwork search, right? So we have sample job and keywords, so kind of keyword samples. These could come from a sample jobs you've done in the past, descriptions of your ICP, whatever. When you book a call with me and you're like, hey Ryan, and this is my ICP, I want leads that are doing this. This is the process we go through. We're using boolean search operators, categories, occupations, and to refine, to get the most refined, most accurate, most complete Upwork search design that we possibly can. All right. So we are now at this Upwork search design state. All right. The next thing is we have to scrape this list. I have a tool that does this. You can do this manually if you want to, but if you there's a link below I'll drop to sign up for a service where I do this for you. I do the search design for you and build this all out for you. So we've covered this kind of stuff. We've covered title search, using these search operators to eliminate kind of irrelevant jobs. We do the search term matrix, and then we checked all of our categories and occupations, and then we search in 500 character groups, and then we check each one. You can do this with a VA if you want to. You can save these searches and just have somebody go through this, or you can sign up for this automated service I've got, and I will do this for you. So there are certain limitations that you cannot get with Upwork Search. Okay, so first off, I have an automation that searches every few minutes. Okay, per hour budget filtering. We talked about how Upwork Search does not do per hour budget filtering properly. You can, if you include a per hour filter on Upwork Search, you will eliminate the highest paying jobs. Don't do it. So how do you actually do it? Well, I do this with code. So I just have I have an Upwork scraper, and then I parse out the title, the description, the hourly budget, and if all I do with the logic is if there's no cost per hour specified, I allow the job to pass through the filter. And if there isn't an hourly rate specified that's below the threshold, so if they specify like $5 to $10 an hour, I just filter that out. Okay, because we assume that they have $0. So that is how I do that. The only way that you can do this accurately is with code. You cannot, as again I said, don't filter this out with Upwork Search, because Upwork will just not show you the highest paid jobs that are really long term as well. Okay, and there's certain other things I use what's called a regular expression. So your ICP, you probably, for most people, they want to know the difference between we are a Google Ads agency, work for us for $1 an hour and you can like fix our stuff, or we are looking for a Google Ads agency. Okay, one of them is your competition, they will pay you nothing. The other one is exactly who you want to reach. So the nuance there is something I do with tags, and the configuration of these is client specific. There's some common denominators like everybody wants. So one of the things I do is I count the number of words in the description. So I show that to people, and if it's below a certain number of words, like we infer that the job is not descriptive enough, and they probably should not prioritize that job. And sometimes clients are like, if the client description or the job description is way too long, it's too many words, it's also a bad fit. So when I'm showing this, when we're configuring this stuff up, if we normally configure this kind of stuff, so we eliminate too short and too long. Some people want to only work with like e-com stores or Shopify stores, so we do that. You might be like B2B versus B2C. There's a tool called regex101.com where you can configure what is called a regular expression. And so this is how I detect whether the client is an agency or not. So I use this regular expression. And this, so it's things like, okay, so the word agency or our clients, right? Or we work with something businesses, right? We work with coaching businesses. We work with e-com businesses. We work with whatever. If they say we work with blah, blah, blah businesses or blah, blah, blah clients, they're an agency, even if they don't say the word agency. So a regular expression is so far the only way I know of to reliably detect certain tags for a job. and eliminate everything that is not your ICP. So that is how I do it. We eliminate non-English job postings in the same way. If it's in Dutch or it's in German or Spanish or something, we can eliminate those characters. And then we also, some people really don't want to do last minute stuff, or they want to have a tag to say, hey, this is a last minute job. If someone says, I need this done in 24 hours, some people don't want to do those jobs. Some people do. All right, so we can eliminate or highlight those depending on what you want. And then, of course, eliminating your competition. Depending on what you do, we develop regular expression tags and filters to eliminate that. So, again, if it passes the filters, the way that this works is I send a Slack alert and compose the proposal template depending on your SOPs. Again, you can do this yourself as well, or you can just sign up for the service I have. And we also create a list of jobs in Airtable. Basically, so your VA or you can apply, and then you can track their proposal speed, their time between applying and the job being posted on Upwork and them actually applying if you have KPIs for that stuff. So, and then again, feedback to me to adjust the filter. Now, you can build this yourself if you want to. I've shown you exactly how to do it. You go to Regex 101. You can learn how to use regular expressions. You can learn how to code in Python or Zap. You can do this in Zappy, or you can do this in Make. You can do this in Perl, whatever. It doesn't matter what language you use. You can do this in this language, or you could just sign up for the service. So there's a link below if you want to sign up. That is cool. Let's see. Okay, so the last piece, the really, really cool piece that comes from this as well, is KPIs. And so once we have all this data, and I put it in Airtable, you can do whatever you want. I show this to my customers. So here's an example customer that is in the IT space. And so I just compiled all of the skills that anybody has ever mentioned for any job, and then show them the total value of the skill. So Node.js is a $79,000 per job average skill. So every single job that mentions Node.js is actually absurdly high. Okay. So we also look at the average competitiveness, as in the number of proposals received after a certain amount of time for each job, so that what they can do on their end is make decisions about what kind of jobs they want to target, maybe what kind of skills they want to hire for, right, that are more lucrative on Upwork, and whatnot. So that helps us refine their things over time, and also figure out what they want to list on their profile. So if you know what the most lucrative skills are, you would just list those things on your profile. Makes sense, right? So basically, this is a feedback loop. So let me show you where we are in the process. So we talked about automated Upwork scraping. We talked about refining it by skills or country or whatever, budget filtering. We talked about custom tags, and this is based on regular expressions. And that tells us things like, is it B2B or B2C? Is it your competition? Is it a tight timeline? And then we put that into Airtable. That's one thing. And also in Slack. Okay. So this is all customized for your ICP. You can build this out if you would like to. I've shown you hopefully everything I know on how this works. Or you can just sign up below if you want to. If you are an agency and you are busy and you want to scale lots and lots and lots, this service is way cheaper than cheapest VA, way faster than any human on the planet, and better than your most expensive VA that you could ever get anyways. All right. So that's how it works, start to finish. You do this, you figure out what here, you send proposals. After your profile is optimized as well, it works even better. You get calls, you get cash. That's how it works. So that is how Upwork Search works from a nutshell. I will link this ROI calculator below so you can see if Upwork is right for you. I think for most people it totally is, because if you think about it, maybe you send 10 applications per day. Maybe you go crazy and send 20 applications per day. You have a VA whose only job it is to send applications, right? Now, your customer LTV, maybe that's $5,000 per customer, right? Maybe you're a little better at selling than the guy I was talking to today, and you're at 128,000 extra per month. So what you have to do all this properly, to actually get these jobs that are the most volume, is go through this process, right? You have to go through the process of going through all these keywords, right? You have to do that kind of stuff. If you want me to do this for you, hit the link below, and you can book a call with me, and we will talk soon. But this is lucrative. I think this is worth exploring if you are an agency and you want to make a lot of money. And as I've shown here, it really is in the neighborhood of 100K per month more. So my name is Ron Hildebrandt. You can reach me on Twitter at rmhildebrandt. On Twitter. Dang. Or Ryan at scalewithbliss.com. And there's probably some links below this video, wherever you are finding this video, on how to do that. So that's it. Want to sign up? Links below. Do it. Hopefully this was useful to you guys. Share this with a friend who wants to make a lot of money on Upwork. And that's all for today. Thank you.